So what if I told you that the secret to a better life isn't about making these massive, earth-shattering changes, but about making really, really tiny ones? Well, that's the powerful idea behind James Clear's Atomic Habits. And we're about to dive into the simple, yet kind of profound principles that can help you build a life you've always wanted.
But first, let's start with a question. I mean, we've all been there, right? You get this huge burst of motivation, you make these grand plans to completely transform your life, and then, a few weeks later, you're right back where you started. It's so frustrating, and it makes you wonder, why is it so incredibly hard to make good habits actually stick? To get to the answer, we have to go back to a single moment that changed everything for the author James Clear. It was the last day of his sophomore year of high school, and this one single terrifying event would put him on a path to discovering the very secrets of how habits are formed.
The impact was, it was just devastating. A crushed nose, multiple skull fractures, both of his eye sockets completely shattered. His brain started to swell so fast that his life was literally hanging in the balance.
It got so bad, the doctors had to place him in a medically induced coma. This was rock bottom, a moment that would force him to rebuild his entire life from the ground up, one tiny atomic habit at a time.
So how in the world did he do it? How did he go from a hospital bed to becoming a top athlete and a best-selling author? Well, it all comes down to a simple but incredibly powerful principle he discovered: the amazing power of just getting 1% better.
Now, this idea wasn't entirely new. It had been basically perfected by a guy named Dave Brailsford. He took over the British cycling team back in 2003 when they were pretty terrible. His strategy, which he called the aggregation of marginal gains, sounds fancy, but it's deceptively simple. Find 1% improvement in absolutely everything you do.
And what's wild is the level of detail they went into. They didn't just redesign bike seats. They tested different massage gels. They taught riders the most effective way to wash their hands to avoid getting sick. They even painted the inside of their team truck white just so they could spot tiny bits of dust that might mess with the bike's performance. And the result of all these tiny changes? Total domination on the world stage.
And this is where you really see the power of this idea. It's not just about cycling, it's about the magic of compounding. As James Clear says, habits are the compound interest of self-improvement. Just like money, the effects of your good habits multiply over time. But, and here's the scary part, so do the bad ones.
Okay, let this sink in for a second. If you get just 1% better at something every single day, by the end of the year, you're not 365% better, you'll be nearly 38 times better. That is the insane power of compounding at work.
All right, so if the math is so clear, why do we so often give up? Why does it feel like all our effort is going absolutely nowhere? This brings us to a really crucial idea in the book, understanding what he calls the Valley of Disappointment.
I absolutely love this analogy. It just perfectly captures what progress feels like. You can be hammering away at this rock day after day and see absolutely nothing, not a single crack. But the tension is building. The work isn't being wasted, it's all being stored. And here's what that looks like on a graph. We expect our progress to be this nice, straight, steady line going up. But in reality, there's this huge gap, this valley of disappointment, where we feel like giving up because we can't see the results yet. The real key is having the guts to push through that valley to reach what Clear calls the plateau of latent potential. That's where the magic happens.
Okay, so how do you keep yourself going when you're stuck in that valley? This leads us to the next big paradigm shift in the book, and it's an idea that really challenges one of the biggest beliefs we have about success, the whole idea of focusing on goals.
So what's the difference? Well, a goal is the result you want, right? The championship trophy. But the system is the process that gets you there. It's the daily drills, the practice sessions, the whole routine. Goals are great for setting a direction, but it's your systems that actually make the progress happen.
And here's the real insight. Think about it. Every single athlete in the Olympics wants to win a gold medal. Every writer wants to have a bestseller. The goal itself isn't what separates the winners from the losers. So what does? It's their unwavering commitment to a system of continuous tiny improvements. But what fuels that commitment to the system? What keeps you going when that initial burst of motivation is long gone? This brings us to what might be the most profound and life-changing idea in the entire book: the power of your identity. Clear explains behavior change as 3 layers, kind of like an onion. On the outside layer, you have your outcomes. That's the results you get.
The middle layer is your processes. Those are your habits. But at the very core, the heart of it all, is your identity, your deep down beliefs about who you are. Real, lasting change doesn't happen from the outside in. It has to radiate from the inside out. This example makes it crystal clear. Imagine two people are offered a cigarette. The first one says, "No thanks, I'm trying to quit." You see, their identity is still that of a smoker who's fighting a battle. But the second person says, "No thanks, I'm not a smoker." It's such a small shift in language, but it signals a massive shift in their identity.
And here's why this is so critical. You might want to get fit, but if you still deep down see yourself as someone who just hates exercise, your old identity is going to sabotage your new habits every single time. The goal isn't just to run a marathon, it's to become a runner.
So how do you build a new identity? The process is actually beautiful and simple. First, you just decide the type of person you want to be. Not what you want to achieve, but who you want to become. And then second, you prove it to yourself with small, consistent wins.
This quote just nails the whole idea of identity-based habits. Every time you lace up your running shoes, you're casting a vote for "I am a runner." Every time you sit down and write one page, you're casting a vote for "I am a writer." These tiny habits, they're not just about results. They are literally shaping the person you want to be.
We'll end with what I think is the book's most powerful message. It's not about willpower. It's not about making some grand heroic effort. In the end, your life is a direct reflection of your systems, and your systems are a reflection of your identity. So the question I'll leave you with is this: what kind of person are your daily actions voting for? And what kind of life are you building? One tiny habit at a time.